Charlyne and Michael unfortunately had to go back to Los Angeles yesterday. But I do have a few people to introduce. Here's Jake Johnson, who played me in the film. Director of photography, Jay Hunter. And then our editor, Ryan Brown. So I guess we'll take some questions and hopefully give you some decent answers. Over here.
What were some of the difficulties that you faced while filming this movie?
Probably the first and most terrifying difficulty was our first days of shooting were the ending in Toronto. And Michael was working on another movie in Louisiana at the time, and he was going to come up on the weekend. And he had to fly through Dallas, but there was a tornado, so he was grounded all day at the Dallas airport, and he couldn't make it. And you know, it's a really small movie, and we'd never done this before, and we were convinced we were going to get shut down on the second day. And luckily, we ended up just shooting all of Charlyne's coverage that day with all the snow in the background. And about 4 months later, shot Michael when it was really warm and sunny out. And so I really hope no one here noticed that. Right here.
How much of that was scripted and how much of it was improv?
It's about half and half, and there was no script. There was a loose outline about 5 pages long. And, you know, mostly to try to keep it fairly natural and realistic so that it didn't, you know, there wasn't any sort of jarring transitions between the true documentary stuff and the storyline stuff. And, but we were just kind of constantly making up stuff on the day, and which created some problems, but also ultimately made the movie better. And yeah, it was fun. Hard to keep track of everything, though. Oh, right here.
Where did you or Charlyne come up with the idea for the little artistic recreations of the stories?
Charlyne originally had the idea to just make a documentary about love when she first came to me with it, and she had already come up with that because she wasn't really a big fan of documentaries, especially like the sort of static B-roll images and still photos and stuff. And so she thought it would be much more interesting to see it sort of artistically, you know, created using her very sort of unique art style. And yeah, that was one of the earliest things she came to me with, and that was before we knew we were gonna, you know, script half the thing too. Here, the red.
You jump around from location to location in the movie. You filming it? You weren't jumping around when you were actually filming it, were you?
No, we wanted it to feel that way because, you know, the relationship would sort of develop over a period of time, and we just shot it in 4 straight weeks, and so for the sake of the storyline, we needed to have her going back and forth, so that it made sense that they were, you know, continuing to film everything. Right here.
Tell me about the kids in Atlanta.
The kids in Atlanta. Most of them were pre-screened by our casting director. Especially David, the little blonde boy, who we knew immediately we wanted. And he's actually out in Burbank right now, and he couldn't make it to Sundance because he's rehearsing, I think, for a pilot. But he was great, and actually all the kids were fantastic. And we showed up, you know, we told the ones that we had pre-screened to meet us at this park, and then we got there, and there was a lot of other kids that were just hanging out there, and the minute, you know, they see a camera, they just start showing off. And so it was a, you know, mad dash to find their parents and have them sign their lives away. And yeah, I don't know, they were so great to be around. That was definitely one of the most fun days. And Charlyne, I think, just played with them for like 3 hours before we shot.